The other way it's a bad day for Dole is this incredibly ill-advised photograph he's had taken of himself. It appears in different versions with Ronald Reagan, who, though I personally don't think he was mentally or physically competent to be president at the time, certainly is no longer mentally or physically competent. And it shows. And it just reminds people that Dole is older now than Reagan was when he first ran. And I think that, well, it's something he might not have wanted to play up so much.
The campaign is calling this a red letter day, a banner day to be able to visit with President Reagan.
I think President Reagan is still very well remembered. It was a time in Washington where you had no hint of corruption, basically, around the president, personally.
Yeah. That's really not at all
the economy was moving very well in those days. There was values. President Reagan left with some very, very good numbers. California is a critical state in this election where the Republicans have been counted out, and I think for that reason it's a good day.
Under President Reagan, illegal money was raised from drugs and from the sale of illegal weapons and the trading in human lives to conduct an illegal, unconstitutional foreign policy for a start. And Reagan was president of that secret government as well as of the legal government. He was a regular, habitual liar, and as for the economy, we're still living with his deficit.
Well, it was actually a congressional deficit by and large.
Mr. Garcia, by the way, you're young yet, but you'll soon get the knack of it. You have to watch when congressmen like Mr. Davis say what a great man Ronald Reagan was and how sweet his memory is and how fragrant in our nostrils is the recollection of him, and then to tell you that we're still paying 20 cents on the dollar in national debt as if the two things were completely unconnected. Keep an eye on things like that. You'll learn a lot.
Oh, yes, like I said, I wasn't, I'm not trying to destroy the memory of President Reagan.
Well, I wish you were. I certainly am, but...
She was getting very rude. And Mr. Hitchens, you can't say anything about President Reagan. The Congress holds the purses, and it was the Democratic Congress that gave the money for all of that, and they wanted to make him look bad, too. So you can't say anything bad about President Reagan. He was one of the best presidents we've ever had. And I'm sorry you weren't here when he was president.
I think it's time for you to... I was here for all of that. I think it's time for you to reread David Stockman's account of the matter, his budget director. The deliberate creation of deficits.
Well, you've both talked about the deficit and...